Why people cheat according to psychology. A video by Dr. Anna, Psychology with Dr. Anna. This is actually a super cool hint how I'm going to rename my channel soon enough. If if you're watching this and it is renamed, you probably already see it. But the thing is, although this video is 3 years old, this theme is still important even to this day. So I'm just curious, did she record this during the quarantine? Because I want to see the yes, she actually did it 19th June. So it's almost 4 years actually since this video appeared. And I remember that the quarantine was one of those days where a lot of relationships broke up, like a lot of them. I don't know about the divorce rate, but definitely the breakup rate went super high. Uh, I don't know if cheating is involved around this, but we wanted to watch a video talking about people cheating from a woman perspective. So I give you one of the most popular that I found on YouTube.
Student, and I make videos about real-life applications to
Oh yeah,
Anna. I'm a clinical psychology doctorate student, and I make videos about real-life applications to psychology. So if you're not
yeah.
already subscribed, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. In this video,
She starts like such a casual YouTuber. Wait, is this filmed in her room? I can feel the sound because I used to, like, even now, of course, I'm doing streams in my room, but I remember the previous room that I had where I filmed YouTube videos, like way long ago, maybe back actually during the quarantine. It had a similar sound.
we're talking about infidelity. So the way this video is set up, first I'm going to talk about some statistics about infidelity, then I talk
Okay.
about some of the factors that go into whether someone's going to cheat or not. So essentially the risk factors and some of the correlated issues. Some of these are individual, some of them are related to the relationship, and some of them are contextual. Next I talk about why some
Can you hear the sound well? Let me just check the sound before I start. Yeah, it's actually all good.
people choose not to cheat, as well as why some people stay in relationships after there's been infidelity. And finally, what this means for you. So I conclude all the psychological
For me.
research with how to make sure that you're not with someone that's going to cheat on you. Like always, the timestamps are in the description box below if you're more interested in one section than the others. So go ahead and skip to whatever part you're here for. So before I get
I'm actually here for a woman talking about cheating, and maybe more from woman perspective. Probably not a good idea to skip. Let's watch the full
started,
video.
let me just give a little disclaimer. Most of this research is done on married couples because I guess it's just easier to study people who are in a committed relationship such as marriage. I do think this is a problem because people who are already married might have different reasons for cheating than people who are not married. And I definitely don't think that marriage is the only way that you can show your partner that you're committed to them. But this is unfortunately the way research is right now. So most
I think I already even shared this theory last week that 2024 is now the time where how do I put this correctly? Marriage doesn't really scream commitment a lot of the times. It might be on the paper, but it's not really over there like it was before, when you arrange the contract, so to say, arrange the marriage. No, that was a bad formulation of words. When you basically united the families and now you became one family. And I see one of the points right now that you actually show commitment is when you move in with the person. Because moving in means that you're going to see this person every day. You're going to wake up next to them, go to bed next to them. It's not going to be only honeymoon phase anymore. You're going to have some responsibilities. That's a lot of the times more commitment, especially in 2024.
Most of it is going to be about marriage. I should also mention that most of the research is also on heterosexual couples. It's very
I should also mention that one of the reasons is probably because in the past it was so hard for married couples to live together, for unmarried couples to live together. So you really needed to commit to each other in that way so that you can have a chance to, yeah, to wake up next to each other every morning.
possible that LGBT couples have completely different trends, and we
That
just need
would
to
be
look into
amazing. I'm
specific
telling
research
you, like this. Screw all my LGBT reactions. We should watch a reaction. Why do LGBTQ people cheat? That would. I'm writing this down. This is a great idea for our next Thursday. I'm actually gonna make some research on it.
on them. So, what percentage of people cheat? In 1994, 20 to 25% of married people cheated. In 1997, 34% of them were men and 19% were women. But now we're noticing that the gap is really getting evened out. So right now, among young couples, 11% of
Whoa.
women are cheating and 10% of men are cheating. And I'm going to
First of all, it's super interesting that much less married men are doing it. Like women, I don't know, 19 and 10 isn't that big of a percentage compared to 34 and 11. And that I have a theory about that, but let's see what she has to say.
go into the different factors that decide whether a woman versus a man is going to cheat, so don't worry. But first, let me just answer the question, are we hardwired to cheat? So humans are highly complex animals. It's not clear. We're not bonded for life like swans, but we're also not completely non-committal like, let's say, bunnies. I think bunnies are non-committal. I'm not sure. You just always hear about bunnies doing it. So we're somewhere
I graduated with a perfect grade in biology, but I would never never answer if bunnies are committed animals.
in the middle, where it is biologically adaptive to want to have as much genetic variety as possible. So it is biologically adaptive for women and men to both spread their genes with different partners, but it's also biologically adaptive to have a long-term partner in order to prevent sexually transmitted diseases, in order to have someone to help you raise the offspring, and even for emotional protective factors, such as the fact that in bipolar disorder, for example, if you are with a partner, you're much less likely to actually trigger a bipolar episode. So
Okay, guys, I apologize very much, but one of the things that we do on these streams is that we learn stuff. So if I don't know something, I am going to Google it. That causes extreme mood. Oh, okay. I would make a joke who has these mood swings. Well, that's not actually a joke. Pregnant women have bipolar disorder. A lot of them. I know, okay, maybe it's wrong to say. I know it's a mental health condition. So I don't know how is it correctly to use, so to say, in a technical way. But in general, I've seen pregnant and women, and I heard stories. Their mood swing is as described often in different, movies or stories. Learn about. I mean, it's actually curious. I might actually learn more about this later because it depends also what is like a mood swing. You can suddenly be happy and then suddenly sad, or how does it go? How does this process follow? I should really study this more.
think the answer is yes and no. It kind of depends how you look at it. There are people out there who are going to say, of course, absolutely, it's just, men being hardwired to cheat. And first of all, I would say it doesn't depend what sex you are because there's no reason for men to be spreading their gene around more than women. And also, it's not that simple. We're just highly complex animals. Willpower does play a role, and there are benefits to both cheating and not cheating biologically.
Like let's make it understandable. When she says that it is complicated, why do people cheat? She is not talking about the moral laws, or she is not talking about our, so to say, state of mind. Because cheating, as we defined even in the last video, is a clear decision. You wanted to do something, you made a decision that you're going for it, and you cheated. She is trying to explain the psychology of the human being, what leads to. So we're not justifying it. When she says it's complicated, it's not a justification for cheating. I'm clarifying it now so that some people don't get it wrong in the future.
speaking. So let's talk about the factors that are correlated to who cheats, which is the bulk of the research in this field. So a big one, like I already mentioned, is gender. So men do cheat more than women, but the gap is getting lower. So in the younger generations, as we saw, women actually cheat a little bit more by 1%, but
Let's
overall,
go,
if you look
man.
at not basing it on age as well, men are still overwhelmingly unfaithful. Women, interestingly, tend to get more emotionally involved in their affairs than men. So 44% of men who cheat say that it's just about sex, it's just about the physicality, whereas only 11% of women who cheat say the same. Women also...
That's actually what we saw also last week. It's, the man just wants to go to the bed. The woman really, in order for her to cheat, she needs to feel it.
tend to see emotional cheating as more problematic than men do. And another difference is that women tend to feel more guilt over cheating than men. Another individual...
That is actually explanatory if you think about this from this perspective, because women not just like a man just does an action. Really, like what does we just saw? 44% says just the sex. 44% like just did, and and slept with a person, spent one night over, came back like nothing happened. They may still even love the person, they may still even want to be there for the rest of their lives, but they did cheat, so they really feel less inner guilt. Whereas a woman is basically, since she cheats more emotionally, she feels like she is more unfaithful. Like she allowed her emotions and her state of mind to shift towards another man.
factor that's correlated with cheating is age. So men aged 55 to 65 are at the highest risk of cheating. Women aged 40 to 45 are at the highest risk of cheating. It's kind of unclear
Really?
whether this is a generational cohort issue or whether it's just about what stage of life you're at. So interestingly, studies found that 39 is the danger.
Again, to be fair, she did do research on married couples. So, for example, looking at how many people are actually getting married right now at the age of 25 to 30, it is a less percent. Or is she talking percentage? Okay, if she's talking percentage, then yeah, then forget what I just said.
Age. So
Oh
39 is
no.
when the most infidelity happens out of all
Oh,
the
good. I'm
ages.
20 years
And in
ahead.
fact, not just
Still
39,
looking.
but any age that ends in 9. Because it's kind
Wow.
of like that person is going into a new stage of their life, into a new era. And they're kind of having an identity crisis about maybe not being prepared to go into that next stage, maybe having what we would call a midlife crisis. So that
I'm sorry, but this is like so stupid. Like I am not. I genuinely never understand the age crisis, particularly when it revolves around the numbers. I remember when I was younger. It's a super fun story. I was always worried that next summer, basically, after a school year finished, I was thinking, okay, this was the last year I was able to do fun. Now it's all gonna get serious. I'm gonna have to be more, I don't know, dedicated to work and studies, less partying, less sleep. So basically, older life, adult life begins from September. And I had this once every 2 years. Like seriously, it stopped when I went to uni. Maybe even before that, but it really like stopped after I went to uni, because you realize that it's not about the number, it's not about the age, it's about the events that happen in your life. And the people who build this around, like, what is the real difference between someone who is 29 and 30? Or 19 and 20. 19 and 20 might have a bigger difference, but 29 and 30, or like really, what is 39 and 40? It's just a number. You shift it from one day to the other. So if anyone could explain me this 9 crises, I would gladly listen to them because I simply don't get it. And I am 19 right now. I'm at the age that ends with 9. So I'm technically supposed to have this crisis.
Type of insecurity about the next stage in their life could lead to low self-esteem, which some people do tend to turn to cheating to boost. Some personality traits are also correlated with cheating. So narcissistic men are more likely to cheat. Less agreeable men and women tend to cheat, and agreeableness is one of the big 5 traits. So it's essentially how little deception and manipulation, basically how likable you are. And more conscientious partners are less likely to cheat, and conscientiousness is also one of the big 5. It's essentially how responsible you are. History of divorce is also an individual factor that predicts whether or not
Whoa,
someone's going to cheat. This could be
that
because
is
maybe they have
interesting.
a more cynical or a pessimistic view of relationships not working out. Possibly there are some relational issues that are causing them to repeat the same cheating behavior. And history of infidelity also is a predictor of future infidelity. I mean, we know this.
Sorry, but this is like this she even says it.
That past behavior is a good predictor of future behavior. So those with a history of cheating are 3 times more likely to cheat in the future. But don't take this to mean that if someone cheated in the past, they're absolutely going to cheat in the future, because not all cheating is the same. Sometimes
It is true, but the thing is, it's like when someone is telling you the truth. Imagine you have a person that always tells you the truth, and you are going to trust them until one day they lie to you. And they might never lie to you anymore at all, but you will always remember that part when they were unfaithful. Like really, faith is such an important thing in life, which is the the more faithful you are, the worse consequences will come if you break it, if you break your faithfulness. Like imagine, if you, I don't know, if you've been with someone for 7 years, only going on with honesty and again with faith, and all of a sudden you lie. Like it takes a lot of belief to really come back and give a chance to the other person when they lie to you. So yes, a history isn't a deal, isn't really always a factor that is going to show, but a history is a clear example what this person could do.
cheating can be because the person you're with is maybe emotionally or physically abusive to you, or they're neglecting you in some way, or there's something seriously dysfunctional about the relationship. It's not at all the same as someone who's just a chronic cheater and just can't help themselves. So now let's talk about some of the characteristics of the relationship that predict whether
Okay,
someone's going to
that's
cheat.
interesting.
Length of relationship is one. So when I first heard this, I thought, oh, well, probably the longer you're with someone, the stronger the relationship and the less the infidelity. But actually, the longer the relationship, the higher the risk of infidelity. And
It is so freaking logic. Like, I'm sorry, I know you're a doctor now, but this is exactly what I told you. The more honest you are, the more at risk you are to lie someday because you've been telling the truth all the time. It's like flipping a coin. If you get 2 heads, often you might get the chance to get a third heads for the third time as well. But if you're getting heads for like 20 or 200 or 2000 straight times, the risk of it finally falling on tails should usually be bigger. Although obviously if you got heads for 2000 times, probably there's something wrong with the coin, but you get the point.
this kind of makes sense because the longer you're together, the more time you have to cheat, essentially. And we see this particularly for
Exactly.
men. The longer the relationship, the more they
Huh?
cheat. Whereas for women, it's more of a curve. So they're more likely to cheat in the intermediate stages of a relationship. Whereas relationships that are newer or older, they cheat less. Another factor
It's all good. So if I get a girl I need to make sure we go past the intermediate stage. So the honeymoon phase is all good. Then we need to go to get our best in the middle, and it's all good. I'm just kidding, guys. Be faithful all the time. Be a man in your relationship all the time.
Factor that predicts whether or not someone's going to cheat is, I know you guys were wondering about this, relationship satisfaction. So this is kind of looking at infidelity from a deficit standpoint, where it's
Yeah.
kind of, there's something missing in the relationship, there's something wrong with the relationship that is causing someone to turn to infidelity. And I don't mean for this to sound victim blaming whatsoever. It's never the partner's fault what someone else chooses to do. But research has shown that in about 25% of cases of infidelity, it is related to that person not being happy in their relationship. So
I'm just curious, like I'm genuinely curious. What do the other 75 say? Because let's think it through from a philosophical standpoint, not a psychological or sociological in that matter. If you are satisfied with your relationship, why do you need to go and find the benefits or I don't know, some other things that you are looking for with another person? So think about this. Like cheating. Yeah, you went over, if you're a man, you slept with another woman. And then you come back, you say, "Yeah, actually everything in our relationship is perfect." So it's not about I just wanted to go sleep with other person. Well, you are not satisfied in the relationship because you're not getting the, so to say, the wanted amount of sex. So that means you're not happy in the relationship, which again goes to this graph. Like, what is this graph with 25%? What do the other 75 say they are happy? Like, it's super bizarre. It should be at least 99, or I would say 100. You always give a chance for an exception, but 99 at least.
it is related to that person not being happy in their relationship. So relationship satisfaction is a powerful predictor of infidelity. Those who reported they were not too happy in their relationship were 4 times as likely to cheat, and those who said they were pretty happy were twice as likely to cheat. So we definitely see that as not just the very unhappy.
Wait, what?
Happy were twice as likely to cheat. So we definitely likely to cheat, and those who said they were pretty happy were twice as likely to cheat. So
Like, this sounds unlogical. If you are pretty happy in your relationship, why do you need to cheat? Cheating is basically uh going, how do we formulate it so it sounds correctly? Is going breaking your relationship without making the other partner notice it, or uh without publicly making it without publicly announcing it, because you can't have a good relationship and good, that means your relationship sucks ass. Come on now. Like, genuine, can someone please explain to me what, maybe she's gonna explain right now, what do you mean you're pretty happy but you want to cheat? Mm, I can come up with a reason, but again, it won't work well. But let's hypothetically say that you're happy in your relationship, and one of the reasons that makes you happy is that you're allowed to go to sleep with other women, right? But then that's not cheating, because cheating is not about like with who you stick your pee around. It's about you being unfaithful to your partner. If you and your partner have a deal that you go around and you undress and hook around with other people and then get back together, it's not considered cheating. It's considered a weird relationship. Probably nowadays they call it, how do they call it? open relationship, but it's not cheating. Ah, you gotta learn English, people. You gotta learn it.
We definitely see that it's not just the very unhappy that are at risk of this. It really is more of a continuum where the more satisfied you are in your relationship, the less a chance you have of cheating. There are a lot of possible reasons that I think could explain this. So one is contempt or resentment towards your partner. So of course, if you're secretly angry at your partner, you might want to unconsciously do things that hurt them, or even consciously, or trying to actively get back at them, or revenge for some way that they treated you, or something that they're not listening to you about. It's kind of like that.
You're genuinely a weak man if you really go around thinking this. Like, I swear, this is the type of man I look at them as complete dickheads. Like, come on, like seriously. Why do I use the word like so much? I don't know. But you got the point. Wishing to hurt someone, especially a woman that you're in a relationship with, those men should be punished. Like, I swear, why why would you even want to hurt? Even if you're super angry. I don't know. I mean, it's complicated. That is complicated.
Mindset, well, he's always yelling at me, so I want to hurt him. Another possible reason that I can think of is that if you're unhappy in a relationship, you might know deep down that it's probably going to end, or that maybe you don't want to keep this going, and this is kind of your unconscious
Break up
way of
then.
getting out of it. Or it could be that,
Break up then. And again, I have bad relationship stories where I behave myself as a complete, so to say, dickhead. Yeah, I really like sometimes I look at this and I think so. But I am relatively long compared to the people that she was analyzing. They should have matured from that stage and already know that speaking and talking is the best part that you for in every relationship basically.
if you think you're going to get caught, you don't really care. You don't mind because this isn't particularly a satisfying relationship that you want to stay in. And of course, it could be related to sexual dissatisfaction. So you need to find that physical intimacy elsewhere because for some reason you're not getting what you need in your relationship. So when
It's all good, but if that's the factor, break up. It's super simple. You just go, you just say, "Hey, Abigail, I'm dissatisfied with the way we sleep together. We either change it and then try to improve it together, or we give up. Let's decide." See how easy that is?
people are asked, why did you cheat? These are the reasons they usually cite. 77% of people say it's because they fell out of love. 74% say that it's because they're seeking variety. 70% say it's because they
That's probably the 74 from those 75 who don't feel happy in their relationship.
were feeling neglected in their relationship. And this is definitely more of an issue for women than it is for men. In 70% of cases, it's also a matter of situational forces. So, drinking where your impulse control is inhibited, or finding someone randomly. And this does tend to be more of an issue for men than it is for women. 57.
Again, do we consider that cheating? Like, let's look at this from this perspective. Technically, and I think I would also say that is cheating because you have been, by behaving, you're not even unfaithful because you slept with the person, but you show your unfaithfulness by being so disresponsible that you've allowed yourself to get so drunk that you ended up sleeping with someone. So that is what that cheating part is, not the sex specifically. I think if we really want to explain why that, because we said that it's being unfaithful and basically the other person can say, I wasn't unfaithful. I just wasn't controlling myself because, again, I got wasted and I didn't know, and I would never do this in an adequate situation. Well, you cheated when you've allowed yourself to get so disresponsible.
7% say that it's a way to raise their self-esteem. And, I would argue that it might be higher than that because people might not be as willing to admit to themselves that they cheated because of low self-esteem. It might be something quite unconscious. 43% say that it's because they were feeling angry with their partner. So this is going back to the,
I think that's more
infidelity
women.
as a form of payback or revenge. And 32% said it was just because of sexual desire. So, for example,
That
not
is more
having their
men.
needs met in their relationship. And I would assume that people were able to tick off multiple answers since obviously these percentages do not add up to 100%. And then I'm also going to talk about a particular study that looked at premarital indicators of later infidelity during the marriage. So for men who ended up cheating, the predictors of infidelity were lower sexual satisfaction, lower male positive communication, and higher female invalidation. So
Basically, everything out there talking about uh, no, not even appreciation is the wrong word. Uh, God, I just had it in my head and then I forgot. Man, how basically admitting how good they are. Validation is a good word, but I'm looking for a better one. Like satisfying the man's ego. Okay, when I come up with it, I'll mention it again. Because basically, what this means, low male sexual satisfaction. Uh, so the man needs to increase basically the satisfaction. You got the validation that he's the hero of the house, so to say, and higher female invalidation. Yeah, same. So she's just disgracing him. Men seek attention, and they seek other people be looking at them and saying, "Oh my God, did you see what he did? That's so cool!" Like that, he's that man. I can't remember the verb that describes it the best.
this definitely makes it sound like it's more of a them
If you know what I'm talking about, please drop it in the comments. I will be very appreciative.
issue. It was them invalidating their partner. It was them not being able to communicate, and it was them not being satisfied sexually. For female infidelity, the predictors of infidelity during
Let me
marriage were
guess. Okay, lower positive female communication. That works both sides. But I think emotional unattachment. So maybe openness. I think openness can be a factor. Let's see.
lower levels of female positive communication, higher levels of negative male and female communication, and higher levels of male and female invalidation.
See, this is all related to basically emotions and psychology. Like, yeah, communication you might say it's not really to, although it's also emotional because the things that people say when they are again angry or sad or even happy are sometimes very irrational. So it's interesting note. Like nothing really physical involved in the pre-qualifying.
So interestingly, for women, it's usually, yes, they have less positive communication styles, but also both the man and the woman in the relationship are invalidated and have a lot of negative communication styles.
Hey, Courtney, what's up? You came today. Oh, it's so good to see old faces. I genuinely appreciate that you're here. Shout out to Courtney. She's been on this stream last week and she's now watching it today. It's always great to see. Like I swear I still have the name of the first Twitch follower written down in my notes. So yeah, I don't forget people.
Now I'm going to move into the more contextual factors that are correlated with infidelity. So the more socio-cultural, situational ones. So one of these is socioeconomic status. So the more money you have, the more unfaithful you are. And the cutoff for that
How many times have I heard this story? How many times have I heard this story? Which is true, by the way. It is logically because the more money you have, the more people would want to hang around with you, which means the amount of choices grow faster. But yeah, the amount of times I've heard this argument being used so wrong is uncountable.
was, I believe, 30,000, which is a pretty low salary. And this is related to the opportunity variable. So if you're going on more work trips or maybe other people are attracted to you because you're wearing a nice suit, you have more opportunity to cheat on your partner. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, people who are working 75 hours a week do not really have time to also have an affair on the side. Religiosity is
Hmm.
also correlated to less infidelity. So the more religious you are, the
I'm gonna call you Mr. Dude from now on because you're making a big deal out of call. Oh, come on, Mr. Dude. Ah, you can call me sir. You can call me emperor. Basically, I'm good as long as you're enjoying the stream. It's all good.
the less you cheat. People who did not grow up in an intact family are slightly more likely to cheat. So it's 18% versus
Yeah,
15%,
because
but
they
and this
didn't
makes
have the
sense because, of
example.
course, if you didn't see firsthand more positive communication style in romantic relationships, then you might be less likely to emulate that in your own. And opportunity, so the opportunity variable again, where if someone is quarantined with their partner for 4 months at a time, they have few opportunities to interact with other people, they have few opportunities
Yeah,
to actually go cheat. Whereas people in jobs that are one-on-one are more likely to cheat. People who work around very attractive people are more likely to cheat, particularly if they're attractive people of the opposite sex. And people who live in urban cities are more likely to cheat than people who live in rural areas because, again, they have more opportunity.
because the village is gonna kick you out, or or they're gonna put you on fire. Like you only got two choices. I'm absolutely sure that people in the village, although you do hear some stories, but if it's an actual community, like people in communities in general, they would just look at you. You would feel embarrassed just looking to their eyes. They wouldn't even look at you because of how bad of an act you committed. Got another comment. Makes you wonder how the first humans made relationships work because they were the only ones. Low. Uh, I do believe religion had an impact on it, and like we're not talking about orangutan times. We're talking more about even nowadays, let's say even a couple hundred years ago, people would sometimes still be unfaithful, but I think religion did a big part. Religion plus remember the family unit, like where would you cheat? You needed the whole family to go out there and grind in the farm. You don't have the time. Like it's great that you have like your woman is there bringing you kids non-stoppably. Yeah. Also like the father thing. I think religion played a huge part. If we were to answer how did we make previous relationships work, it would probably be religion.
So, why do people choose not to cheat? The most important factor is happiness in the relationship. The second is not wanting to feel guilty. And the third is fear of
Religion.
retaliation. So, fear that
Oh,
your partner is then going to go cheat on you. So, if you really want
interesting.
to ensure that your partner is
Religion is not even in the top three. That for me is a bit slightly shocking. Not very, but slightly.
not cheating, the best thing you can do for the relationship is to work on the relationship itself and make sure that it's happy and then both partners are getting their needs met. So, why do some people stay together after an infidelity? Because
I actually have a colleague, yes, a lot of colleagues. I'm not obviously going to say their names, but who did stay together after infidelity. Not only that, back then there were certain times out of the year you could only have. Yeah, I mean, what do you mean? Physically? Because it was too cold to sleep around, or what do you mean by certain times?
Because we see this all the time where people constantly ask their friend, why are you staying with them? I mean, after they cheated on you, you said that you wouldn't. You said that this was a deal breaker, or I would never do this. And interestingly, the biggest predictor of whether or not someone is going to stay with a cheater is what their friends have to say about him. So if their friends are
What?
saying,
Holy mother of my crap! Holy damn! What is wrong with our society? The advice of their friends is what makes them stay? Not what's best for you. No, 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 no. Woman or maid, forget about this shit. Abigail, your Mario went around and slept with everyone in the village. Probably was one of your friends as well. And, you could just make a decision. You could just like leave the asshole, or, or you can ask your great friend Jessica and Natasha. Jessica and Natasha, who probably both had an eye on your Mario, will will say that you listen, girl. You gotta stick with him, and you're gonna listen to them and say, yeah, probably Jessica and Natasha know better what's better for me than I do. I mean, it's not like I'm the one dating Mario. Abigail, just 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 quit. Just don't ask your friends. Like, it's all good to ask advice, obviously, to talk because problems, that's what friends are for. But making a life-changing decision purely based on the advice of your friends is too much.
well, yeah, but you have a family together, your finances are tied up, he's a good guy, you're more likely to forgive the cheating. Whereas if your friends say, oh, absolutely not, this is a deal breaker, or you're so much better than this, you're more likely to leave. Other factors
This is because of how weak people are. I'm telling you, like, why am I saying weak? Because just what she stated, if the friend encourages you that you go and you do it, the person is going to break up. So they are not really seeking advice, they are seeking validation. So they want to know that if they do decide to end the relationship, someone over there is going to tell them that they did the right choice so they wouldn't feel bad. And that's an act of a weak person, in my opinion. Again, you can call me that I'm discriminating people all around, but you cannot you cannot make life-changing decisions purely on the advice of your friends. So there's always this deep reason why actually you're asking them advice. You're not asking them advice. You're not. But it sounds good. Advice.
are sharing finances, sharing kids, and sharing family connections, so running in the same circles. So what does this mean for your relationship? How do you make sure that you never get cheated on? Well, you can't 100%.
Okay, I can see you got another comment. Mm, nah, the smart move would be to ask your siblings if you have any friends. This isn't their business. Even siblings, like, I do get that siblings are good at this. Like, they would want only the best for you. But first of all, there are different families and different relationship with it, with different families, different relationships. But second of all, again, it's not them who's breaking up. It is you. And it's you're the one who's gonna have to deal with the consequences. I get that siblings is even better than friends because technically they are family with that person, right? The partner of your sibling is basically your family, but still, still, as I just said, if you're breaking up with someone based on supporting words of someone else, someone outside the relationship, that is not considered advice and that is not considered good. That is just looking for validation, looking for someone to stand there and support you. You know, victimhood.
You can't ensure someone else's behavior with your own actions, but you can kind of minimize the risk factors so that the chance of getting cheated on is at least small. So avoid dating people who are low in agreeableness, high in narcissism, and low in conscientiousness. So avoid people who are very entitled, very arrogant,
Don't date dickheads, basically.
have very high or very low self-esteem, are not very nice people. Go for people who are a little more conscientious, a little more responsible, whether it be in studying or finances or how they treat other people. Avoid people who don't have solid morals, and this is related to the religiosity factor, where it's not about whether or not someone believes in God or whether or not someone goes to church. It's about having a set of morals and having a strong grasp on right versus wrong. Because if someone doesn't, they're more likely to slip up on their moral code. So,
You know, they're more likely to be the ones saying, you know, it's complicated. I I I can explain it.
just make sure that you're going for people who know what is important to them, know what they consider to be right, know what they consider to be wrong, hold themselves and other people accountable to a set of moral standards. So if your partner is cheating in other circumstances or walking all over people or maybe is a bad friend, a liar, or that might be a sign that they might not be the best partner to choose. Also avoid people who constantly put themselves in situations where they might find it hard to deal with temptation. So avoid people who have that opportunity factor, whether it be drinking a lot, going to a lot of parties, going to strip clubs, etc.
Okay,
Also,
I thought like opportunities, you know, try to avoid successful businessmen who need to travel around the globe in order to settle multi-million deals. Try to avoid them. No, but like she's making a good point, obviously. Try to avoid those life whose life is spent in the club, whose nights spent in the club are more popular than spent in their own bed. Whenever someone tells me it's complicated, I say I have time. Go away. I'll actually have to use that one. I have time. I just imagined it in the real conversation. Uh, you also have to say it in a stone cold face, like, yeah, man, bruv, like, I, that's why I booked the whole day. You know, be my guest. I can even help you start. So I was at the party. No, that is a good that is a good backline. Or how is it correct? Yeah, backline, I think.
also avoid people who have a history of cheating or divorce that they haven't worked through. So here, I'm not going to tell you avoid all people who are divorced or have cheated in the past because, like I said, there are a lot of different things that can cause these things. It's not always their fault. It's not always
Again, divorce is not about cheating. A lot of the times, divorce is actually about two grown people saying, I don't want to have this anymore. or I give up on trying this with you, I surrender, let's end this. And then the other person agrees. I might consider it weird and I might not really understand it, but hey, I've never been married, so it's I think I can't speak from the experience of those people.
They're a terrible person because they slipped up. What I'm saying is to talk to them about it. And if they can't explain in mature ways what happened, like why their last marriage ended or why they cheated, that's a red flag. If they don't show remorse, they don't seem to have particularly changed, they don't know why something happened, those are all red flags. So then, what's a green flag? Well, if they own up to their actions, if they have a clear understanding of what happened, and if they have a plan in place to make sure this isn't going to happen with you. Those are all great signs. And really,
Like basically just plan your future, and you'll find someone who plans their future, who has an idea of what they're doing, and even if they screwed up in the past, they can be you can be sure in them in the future.
the best thing you can do to make your relationship cheating proof is to work on having the healthiest, happiest, most satisfying relationship with that person. This isn't going to 100% ensure that you're not going to get cheated on. Some things do.
This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. How can like I this actually makes slight sense that even if you are putting your best effort, it might not necessarily mean that you're not going to be cheated on. But if if the partner is also happy, why would he cheat? Yeah, cheating is only a certain percentage of divorces. Exactly. Freaking exactly. Because divorces are actually it is an agreement. Two people came, they decided something's not working, or they should give up on something that they tried to make work and move on. Most of the times that is it.
Do depend on them too. But talk openly with your partner about what they need from you, emotionally, sexually, etc. So, for example, ask them, do you ever feel neglected in our relationship? Or do you feel like you're getting all of your needs met? Or is there something that's missing? And work on creating a relationship that's characterized by positive communication and validation. Because we know that the less healthy communication there is, the more unhealthy communication there is, and the more invalidated partners feel, then the infidelity goes up. And also, I would recommend that you have an open, honest conversation with your partner about what each of you consider cheating in the first place, and create some boundaries where one person might think, oh, I think that emotional cheating is cheating, and one person might not think that. And, trying to negotiate where do we set the boundary. And also, I would say pay particular attention to your relationship. If your partner is emerging in a new decade of their life, if they
Oh
interact with a
no.
lot of attractive people or a lot of people of the opposite sex, if they have a lot of opportunity to cheat, such as going on work trips, if they're more well off financially, if they seem to be falling out of love with you, if they seem to be
The most
craving.
hilarious part is like if they're well off financially, like the better their business goes or whatever, or their job goes, their career's the correct word. The better their career, the more aware you should be. I love this part. The one thing that I don't agree on is when two people get divorced and years later get remarried. Well, they might have decided that they made a mistake. And again, that is the beauty of life. We get to make mistakes. And because again, like if you don't get this, you probably don't get divorces as well. Like you got married, why would you then divorce? Maybe they found something. Maybe they decided that we were young and we made a mistake by giving up on this. It's more than just about, you know, when to visit your parents or where should I put my toothbrush. Yes, but this treats marriage as like a candy wrapper. Okay. Okay, I get what you want to say. Basically, marriage is not and it's not that serious of of a stage in a relationship, that it is really more. But then again, maybe that's what they want to do later on as well when they remarry. They just wrap the candy. Whereas whereas again, it might actually be the same when they're divorced. Like they just want to to unwrap it because you know they could the reason why they just do have to make it official is because otherwise it's going to be super complicated to go around even in life. Like uh, I mean, asking, you're still gonna be attached to that person by law. Whereas you could already live like different lives, but you can still be married. There's a lot of examples like this on paper, I mean. I think the difference actually is, the real difference, if we look on this, is that divorce is strictly attached to signing a paper. It's not the same as breaking up. It's strictly assigned to, no, it's not even this. It is strictly assigned to rip another paper, the marriage paper. So there is no divorce without marriage, but there is a marriage without a divorce. And I think that that might be one of the reasons you might not agree with the divorce, with getting remarried.
Novelty, and if they seem angry or resentful towards you. So all these things are red flags that you should be looking out for if you want to avoid getting cheated on. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you want me to cover more topics on infidelity.
Moral of the story. Moral of the story. Wait, give me a sec. Moral of the story. If you want any relationship to work, you have to talk. I mean, friendship, business partnership, romantic relationship, work relationship. All of this can't work without communication because communication can set the boundaries clear. And especially important, it is in romantic relationships. I mean, getting remarried to the same person you divorced. Yeah, I did understand this. They just want the paper. That's all. They just want the paper to make their lives easier. They don't really go back to the act of setting up everything. They just make the, trust me, as um as a member of a family that has a lot of lawyers, I can tell you that it's much, much more easier to just have the papers, whether you're married or divorced. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap up specifically this reaction that we're doing right now for you people watching on YouTube. For those of you watching live, we still have one short video I wanted to go through. But for those of you watching on YouTube in replay, I ask you to like the video if you liked it. I also ask you to dislike the video if you disliked it. But then you gotta go into the comment section and drop 3 reasons why you dislike the video. That being said, I was your boy Zeno7, and I will see you in my other reactions.